Well, anybody who starts on a journey to build from the ground up knows that eventually something will go wrong. And in our case, over the last month, not just one thing, but many things have gone wrong. So because of COVID supply issues, there's been a lot of shortages in the construction industry, as with many others. And one of the reasons we decided to build with the ICF concrete block was because they were in plentiful supply over the summer. So the first thing that occurred was when we were scheduled to meet with our builder, we couldn't actually place the order for our ICF blocks until the drafter had finished drawing the plans. Well, by the time he finished, unfortunately, we found out the blocks were on back order for roughly 4 months. So that really set us back. Right after we found that out, our builder kind of disappeared. So we weren't really sure if the blocks even got ordered, only to discover that the supplier our builder orders everything from, and happens to be one of the main ones in this area, was down with COVID. And apparently it was a pretty bad case. So the supplies, as it turned out, did not get ordered before he got sick. Now we've got a pad, a pond, we're ready to build, and there's nothing to build with. So we move on to plan B. Well, when the house plans didn't work out like we had hoped, we realized here we are going into winter living in an RV. So as part of plan B, we decided to start working on the barn and arena a little. At least lumber is something we have no shortage of because Sean can mill most of it, and the post and roofing we need are actually in plentiful supply in our area. So we have sent the plans off to the drafter, and we went ahead and had the excavator clear that spot. Now, as you can see, this wound up being a massive area. It's going to be an equestrian training facility, essentially, in addition to the other items we need in our barn. Now, one thing we learned in designing that is first you draw your dreams, then you draw according to your budget. So we downsized everything, believe it or not. But I'll show you the image in a moment. But briefly, I'll show you this hill back here behind me. That's how much earth he actually had to cut down and spread out, because this was a big slope with a crown right in the middle, and it kind of drained off to both sides. So he actually cut into that hill, he spread all that dirt out, and he's been using the laser level for the last couple of days, really tweaking this and getting it all as straight with just a slight grade for drainage purposes. So once the pad was all leveled and graded, they came in with a compactor, and they really packed in the clay to give a good solid base for the barn and the arena and the stalls. That was followed by trucks delivering an ag lime base, and that base is kind of like finely chopped gravel, if you will, but it allows drainage. So we put about 4 inches of that on top of the packed clay, and then we put in the ag lime. They packed that down with the compactor, and that gives us this base you see now, which we will then build on top of. Once the stalls are built, we can add sand or mats or whatever surface we choose to use, but this ensures drainage will happen and it won't just erode everything away or turn into a big mud pit. So as part of this build, we still want to be stewards of the earth, and you know, cutting down all the trees is not something we're happy about, but it's kind of an evil necessity to make room for the structures that have to be built. We also have livestock that need to graze. And as part of the passive solar design of our home, we had intentionally chosen some trees that would provide shade from the western sun as it set, especially in the summertime. So we had picked these 2 trees, and they were just, one was this big, beautiful oak tree, and it was just perfectly positioned on the west side of the house, right there between the house and pond. When the excavator was doing some finishing work, he tried to drop a tree, and the tree twisted on its way down. It completely destroyed our main oak tree. So we lost both of those in one felling. Sean has a few more logs than he intended here, but I guess we can always plant something. It'll just take a few years to get there, but
seed down wherever we can, and then I'm going to be rolling out these large mats over here. Let me show you these. These come in 8-foot by 112-foot rolls, and once you lay the seed, these are good for slopes because it holds the slope in place, and as you can see in the backside here, we have quite a slope. So we're going to hold that in place. We got some rain coming. We'll get the seed down first, put the mats on top of it, and then the mats will also catch dirt and stuff that's coming down. It'll soak up that rain, hold the moisture, and allow the seed to grow. Now these are big rolls. These are for really steep areas where water funnels, like in this area right here. Water's going to come down this hill, and it's going to come down here kind of quickly. So we can slow it down with these, the old sausage rolls. We don't like bare earth washes away, erodes, causes trenches. So we want to get seed down as quick as possible. And this particular seed is a type of seed that's supposed to take root really quickly. It has some rye and oats in it, and those seed really quickly, and then the fescue takes over after that. So it's all part of the plan.
So I guess it's finally time to show you the plans we have for our equestrian facility. Now, mind you, this is nothing huge or spectacular by any means. It's a very small scale. It's just my daughter and I who train, and we generally don't board or train for outside owners very often. But in any case, we're pretty excited. So it's going to happen in phases. Again, it goes back to that budget and how supplies come in for the house build. So we may have to periodically stop the barn build and go to the house. We're not sure how that's going to play out. This image gives you a pretty good idea of what our plan is. Our first phase is going to involve what we call stall alley. And in fact, we're probably going to start with just the left half of this. That will give us some stalls to actually get horses coming in, back into training, and hopefully wind up with a team of our own as well. So this phase hopefully will go fairly quickly because most of it involves simple raw milled lumber from Sean's lumber mill. The rest of it is going to be a little more complicated. Phase 2 will be the barn itself. Now, the barn is not actually intended to house horses for the most part, but we do have stalls going in for our chickens, our goats, and possibly any other horse situations that need a stall. We're just trying to remain flexible here. The priority with this structure is actually to give us a place to park our camper for the winter. It can go right inside that 12-foot wide truck alley. And instead of finishing out the barn right away, we will probably utilize it as more of a bunkhouse or living area. Just a wooden structure to shelter from the weather and help hold heat into the camper and keep our water pipes from freezing. After we have a house to move into, then we can bring the camper out and turn it into a full-fledged barn. The third phase is situated between the barn and stall alley. That is our covered arena. Now, for right now, we may put up a fence just to give us a nice big turnout since we don't yet have our paddock paradise set up, and that's probably going to be a while. But as soon as we can, we will add the roof and have a full-scale covered arena for all-weather training. So getting those plans from the drafter are the big thing we're waiting on right now. We just want to make sure we get our angles and support structures correct. But things are at least happening. Well, unfortunately, our string of bad luck did not end with the build issues. We lost 2 of our kitties. You may recall we brought down all 4 of our barn cats from Central Illinois, and they've been doing just great out here, staying nearby. Copper and Tigger, this is Copper here, tend to hang out on kind of one section of the property, and our other 2, Tina and Odie, hang out on another part. We're not exactly sure what happened, but we did find Odie in the final stages of life. So based on her symptoms, we're pretty sure they were poisoned by something. Now, those of you that have followed know that this place is a junkyard. We have about 2 acres of decades-old junk. And we found all kinds of things, from oil to hydraulic fluid, which contains ethylene glycol, So, you know, there's really no way to know for sure what they were poisoned by, but it was a pretty devastating loss because we love our kitties. We try hard to take care of them around here, and we're really gonna miss them. So you would think between the build delays, the supplier issues, the cat losses, we'd be at wit's end, but we didn't really have time to think about all that because lo and behold, I came down with COVID as well. It finally caught up to us. Now, whether the kids or Sean got it, we don't know. They never really developed any major symptoms, but it did knock me down for about 3 weeks. I'm still coming back, kind of have a lingering cough and just really fatigue and weakness. So I'm not a whole lot of help for Sean right now, but so hopefully my strength will come back here quickly and we'll get this build going. Well, thanks for watching this week. Hopefully here in the next week or two, things are gonna really start happening. Sean is busy on the mill. We've got lumber stacking up. So we're getting increasingly excited with progress. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, and feel free to leave a comment. We love reading them. You guys have a great week.